There is a movement to radicalize young people, and I'm not going to wait until it's done and all of a sudden acknowledge the existence of it.
Break by break, wall by wall, Zionism will fall. PDKKK!
NYPD KKK!
IOF, they're all the same!
IOF, you're all the same!
They have like plans for it. They've thought about it. Like Yuri Bezmenov talked about this in 1984.
I've seen that clip. It's crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
When you watch it today, like they were right.
It's very prophetic.
He did it.
Yeah.
They did it.
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. In the interests of defending themselves. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students. In other words, Marx, without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of American.
You're what? You're Hamas?
Yes, we're all Hamas.
There is some organization behind this movement. The level of organization that we're seeing in both of these encampments here and at Columbia. Leaflets on how to protest. Leaflets on how to commit civil disobedience. Leaflets on what to do when you get arrested. Leaflets on what to say to the police when they ask you. There is somebody funding this. There is somebody radicalizing our students, and our Deputy Commissioner of Counterterrorism and Intelligence will find out who it is.
The internet has like created this mind virus that's sweeping through college campuses and also the universities and the Marxist philosophies that they've been pushing in universities because of they've all been infiltrated by Russia, by the former Soviet Union, and now by China and Russia together. For sure, they're influencing.
The West Coast Martyrs Brigade stormed UCLA's campus last night, strapped with helmets, gas masks, and riot gear.
The NYPD confirming that 29% of those arrested at Columbia, not students. And then there are the groups, so many it's hard to keep track, that are the organizing muscle behind so much of what we've seen.
We actually see a lot of the names of the organizations appear on the flyers calling for these protests.
Jonathan Shanzer is a former Treasury Department official who specialized in terror funding.
They are extremely organized. There are a lot of the Islamist-leaning groups that I think many of us have come to expect. These are not spontaneous. They are not necessarily organic. They are cultivated by groups that have an axe to grind.
SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine, calls to action on social media and at all hours throughout the day on the encrypted app Telegram. Urgent pleas asking protesters to come immediately to Columbia.
The money was coming from somewhere, right? The matching tents, the professionally printed signs, all the supplies. Well, now we know that they were, at least in part, indirectly paid for by some of America's wealthiest liberal families. Politico did an investigation. Part of it says President Joe Biden has been dogged for months by pro-Palestinian protesters calling him Genocide Joe. But some of the groups behind the demonstrations received financial backing from philanthropists pushing hard for his re-election. The donors include some of the biggest names in Democratic circles: Gates, Soros, Rockefeller, and Pritzker, according to a Politico analysis.
Are not organic. They are organized by, a lot of times, left-wing dark money, i.e. Jorge Soros.
One of them.
Who hates America, who hates any sort of nationalistic pride. He's a globalist. And this is the disgustingness of what happens when you can't basically embrace having pride in your country. Someone like Soros and the money that he's been raising, he has no loyalty to any country. He has no loyalty to anything but his ideology. He has no loyalty.
Why did it become the #1 issue in 1 month? How does that happen? People go, well, this is what these kids care about. Do they really? Do they really suddenly care about the Middle East peace and the Palestinian cause?
Well,
There's something that doesn't gel here.
What I appreciate about this Politico story is now we're peeling back the onion and we're learning who's supporting them.
Money.
Because we've all looked at these crowds and said, who has time to do this? Don't they have jobs? Like, how can you be at a college campus, 50% of them that are arrested are not even at the school? How do they have time to leave their jobs and go protest all day long and live in a tent? What about their kids? What about their families? And this article shows you how they do it. This is their job. They're getting paid to do this.
They push the wokest teachers, the wokest professors, the nuttiest policies.
The professors in a lot of places are driving the train.
Yeah, I mean, here's some of the examples that have been reported over the last couple of months. Controversial statements made on campuses. Joseph Mossad, Columbia, remarks praising the Hamas attack.
Mohammed Abdu, supportive statements about Hamas and Hezbollah. These are known terrorist organizations whose the charters specifically call for the destruction of all Jews and the state of Israel. That's their flags, their causes, they're all clear about it.
Catherine Frank alleged discriminatory comments against Israeli students. Saeed Hussein at Princeton.
Yeah, I mean,
these endorsing Hezbollah.
Again, you got to look at the funding behind a lot of where these professors are getting their seats, and there's different departments that come along with that. The money's coming from the UAE and other places with very different views, not as much funding in support of, say, the Jewish cause.
Yeah, at Penn as well, and Norton, allegations of sharing anti-Semitic
Hillary's
content.
a professor at Columbia. She hasn't said a word. Obama graduated from Columbia. Where is he? This country needs to get it together.
To every college president, I say remove the encampments immediately, vanquish the radicals, and take back our campuses for all of the normal students who want a safe place from which to learn.